How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Gundam card game video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today we are covering not only one of my favorite decks to play in the Gundam card game, it is actually, in my opinion, one of the strongest decks in the entire game right now. It is a blue-red, I'm going to call it a mid-range tempo decks. Now there are a couple different variations and takes on this deck style that I've seen out there. Sometimes people call this like the blue-red pinger deck or blue-red aggro. My version isn't really either of those. We do have direct damage dealing effects, and we do have some aggressive cards, but overall the deck plays more like a mid-range tempo deck where we use our powerful units to just basically maintain board control. We're also running a full 12 pilots, including one of my personal favorites, Sayla Mass, who is actually just one of my absolute favorite characters from the original Gundam UC timeline, including the other two pilots in this deck as well. I really like this deck because of the gameplay and because of just how fun it is, but also because I get to use some of my favorite characters and it's kind of themed around the white base. So without further ado, let's go ahead, jump into our top down and talk about all the ins and outs of this red-blue Marida's white base deck. Let's do it. Now, of course, as with all of our deck techs, we do have a deck list in the description down below, but please stay tuned to hear why the cards are in this deck, because this is a little bit different than some other versions of your red-blue deck. For example, we are running Sayla Mass. For example, we are running Close Combat. So let's talk about why we're including these cards over some other cards and some issues that I have with certain cards in the deck. And some and why we're running some of the other ones. And so the way I'm going to be doing a lot of my Gundam deck techs going forward is I think I'm going to be breaking the decks down by pilot synergy, because when I'm building a Gundam card game deck, pilot synergy and link potential are so important and so crucial to the deck building process and to actually playing the deck that I feel that this format is going to make a lot of sense. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And I do want to reiterate there, the more that I play Gundam, the more that I build Gundam decks, linking pilots is so important. When you're playing the Gundam card game, tell me this, if you played a lot of the Gundam card game, don't you always want to be linking a pilot every turn? Like, that's the juice, right? That's the sauce. You want to be linking a pilot. Now, you have to tailor that with all of the other card ratios. You can't have too many pilots. So, with that said, I think this is a good amount. We're running 4 of each of these pilots, and we'll talk about what cards they link with and all their synergies. So, the first thing that made me want to build this deck is Marida Cruz. This is my favorite pilot in the entire game, full stop right now. I absolutely love Marida Cruz, and she just happens to be one of my favorite characters in all of Gundam. She's from Gundam Unicorn. She's awesome. Go watch the show. You'll see. She's also the pilot of the Banshee, well, one of the pilots of the Banshee, as well as one of the pilots of the Kshatriya mobile suit. Now, these two form my favorite 2 cards in the entire game. The more I play, the more I'm just like, I just want to play Kshatriya and link it up with Marida Cruz. And any deck where I can do that and get even more value out of Marida Cruz with the Banshee is really, really good. So let's talk about our Marida Cruz package. So Marida Cruz is a level 4, 1 cost, 2/1 pilot that says during link, so only during link, and then on attack, choose 1 enemy unit whose level is equal to or lower than this unit and deal 1 damage to it. So she helps to deal incidental damage to various targets, which is so good in the Gundam card game because damage is persistent. We'll talk about that a lot once we get to Sayla Mass and how she's really good at countering that kind of stuff. And you can kind of pile on the damage from various effects. Now, we don't have a ton of damage dealing outside of Marida Cruz and the Kshatriya and a couple other cards, but we have enough where I think it's relevant and it's really, really strong. So there's Marida's effect, helps us take down smaller enemy units. Let's also talk about the Kshatriya. So Kshatriya is insanely powerful. Level 5, 4 cost, 5/4, when paired with any cyber new type or new type, which is all of our pilots, by the way. So the Kshatriya will get this pair effect from all of our pilots. choose 1 to 2 enemy units and deal 1 damage to them. So combined with Marida Cruz, that is 3 points of damage split across 2 units, and one of those units can be dealt, split across technically 3 units, but one of those units can be dealt 2 if you double up the same ping with Marida Cruz and Kshatriya, which is really, really strong. Also, this is a link with Marida Cruz, so you can link it up and attack immediately on your turn 5. Which is really strong. So super, super strong, great at maintaining board control. And like I said, this deck is about board control. We want to control the board, and I think this is one of the best decks in the game that does it outside of a more reactionary blockers style. Think of this as a more, I should say more aggressive or progressive or assertive style deck rather than a defensive or reactionary style deck like a blockers. And so yes, we're running 3 of the Kshatriyas. I would run 4 if I had a 4th copy. Fingers crossed. Hopefully we'll be getting another copy very, very soon. I'll tell you what to cut for our 4th Kshatriya later. But 3, honestly, has been doing extremely well for me as well. I just would like another one. And then also, for Marida Cruz, we have another one of our big finishers. We have the Unicorn Gundam 2 Banshee Destroy Mode. This card is a house, and it's such a cool card, and another reason why I love this deck so much. So the Banshee is a level 6 4-cost 5/4. During Link, so only during Link, so only with Marida Cruz, on attack, you choose exactly 12 cards from your trash, return them to your deck, and then you shuffle. If you do, this set this unit as active, and then it gains first strike during the turn. So you get that first strike on the first attack, and then you'll get it for the second attack as well. And setting it as active means, yes, you can attack with it again. Yes, if you have 24 cards in your trash, miraculously, yes, you can attack 3 times. But it's not that hard to get 12 because we are a more mid-rangey style tempo deck. This is not the super aggressive version, though we can be very aggressive, and we'll talk about that with some of the other cards. We are running a lot of level 2 cards. But this is just a great finisher. It's a double attacker. It also helps trade into board extremely well because it'll have first strike, and that it'll be that 7/5, and you'll be able to trigger Marida's on attack twice as well to do some damage around the board. Extremely good. Great finisher. We're running 3 here. I know some people like to run 2. I like running 3 in this deck. I really want to see this card like every game. So yeah, I like it. And maybe even twice. Depends on how long the game is. But yeah, I really love this card. And this right here, this is the reason why I love this deck so much. All the other cards in here, also extremely happy with them. Really love these cards, but this is my favorite package in the entire game right now. So just being able to run all this stuff is excellent. So that's our Marida Cruz package. Let's talk about our Amuro Ray package. You've seen this everywhere. Everyone knows this is good. We have our 4 Amuro Rays. We have our 4 RX-78-2 starter deck Gundams. And I'm also running 3 of the RX-78-2 LR from the booster set. This is the card that I would cut 1 of for the extra Kshatriya. But I don't actually hate 3 in the deck right now. We'll talk about that as well. So let's go over all these cards. They're just super good. Once again, really, really powerful at maintaining board control, and that's the name of the game here. Level 4, 1-cost 2/1, and then when paired, just with anything, choose 1 enemy unit with 5 or less HP and rest it. So just really great at maintaining board control, helping you pick off your opponent's units so you can rest them and then attack into them. Of course, we are running the starter deck Gundam, one of the best starter deck cards, the RX-78-2. This is a level 4, 3-cost 3/4. It has Repair 2, and then during pair, all of your units gain +1 AP. It's really good. Also links with Amuro Ray. So having that Repair 2 is exceptionally good. We're going to talk about the Repair later, but just Repair is really, really good in the game because damage is persistent, and being able to efficiently trade into your opponent's board, and then also having your units constantly healing is just super good and gives you super great value. It makes it so our deck is actually resilient with our strategy, which is really, really good. So of course we're running a full 4 of these. Once again, linking up with Amuro is just a great turn 4 play. You get that 5/5 that can attack immediately, rest one of your opponent's things, kill it, heal, all good stuff. So yeah, and also this +1 don't discount this +1. We run a lot of level 3 and level 2 units, and so when we play our RX-782 Gundam, there's a non-zero chance we have a couple other units out, and that they can actually make use of that +1 AP. And speaking of which, having a couple other units out, we have the booster set RX-782 Gundam. This one is similar. It's a level 4, 3 cost. However, this is a 3/3. And then all of our white base team units gain repair 1, including this. So this is a white base team unit. We have a lot of white base team units in the deck. So this is actually a really strong effect for this deck in particular. It's not just kind of like an incidental thing. We have a ton of white base team units. And then also, when paired, if you have 2 or more other units in play, you draw a card. Also, not unheard of. We have a lot of level 3 and level 2 units in the deck. So there are turns where you just, the turn before this, play 2 units. Next turn, you play your Gundam. You can link it up with any pilot, but Amuro would be the best because this is just a pair. It's not a link. So you can actually put any of our pilots on. Second best option would be Sailor Mass here. But in any case, linking up or pairing up, well, it would technically be a link, but linking up with Amuro, getting the pair effects, and then jamming in, getting the card draw, all this kind of stuff is really, really nice. The reason why it's not a 4 of is because, well, it's not always a guaranteed that you get the card draw, but you get it enough that I think running 2 is really good, and I don't actually hate running 3. However, I'd rather have a Kshatriya instead of one of these, for sure. And that's our Amuro package. Really, really solid. Do note, every single one of our RX-782 Gundams are white base team. And so that's 7 here. And we also have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, not all. I think we have 17, 14, or maybe 18. Anyway, we have a lot of white base team units. So these are all going to get that repair 1 from our RX-782 Gundam. Really, really strong. Do not discount that. And then the final pilot pile that we're going to talk about is our Sailor Mass pile. Super underrated card. I really, really like Sailor Mass, both as a character and in the Gundam card game. Level 3, 1 cost, 1/1. And then while this unit is blue, it gets repair 1. So she gives repair 1 to literally all of our units, with the exception of our Kshatriya. And we could, possibly pair up the Kshatriya with Sailor Mass just to get the Kshatriya's on pair bonus, but we'd much rather save Kshatriya for Marida Cruise. However, you can still get that. You can still get that effect for sure. Kasela is a new type. Like I said, every pilot in the deck is a Cyber new type or a new type. And yeah, she's just really good. She's also Earth Federation white base team and new type, just like Amuro Ray. So all of our other units that care about linking up with a white base team or an Earth Federation team is really, really good. Like I said, linking up with pilots in this game is really, really good. So having a critical mass of pilots that can actually link with your stuff is super, super strong. So yeah, we're running the full 4 of Sailor Mass, and then Sailor in particular can link up with the G-Fighter, which is a level 3, 2 cost, 3/2, and on deploy, choose one of our white base team units. Once again, we are running a ton of white base team units in the deck, and it gains high maneuver, which is unblockable until end of turn. Super, super strong, running a full 3 of these. I'm actually considering running another one. This is a great finisher in this deck, being able to just give any one of our white base teams units unblockable for the turn, so you can just bypass all those blockers and just crash in for shields for lethal. Also, it has a link with a white base team trait, so yes, you can link up with Sailor Mass, and yes, you can give itself unblockable because it's just deploy, choose one of your white base team units. Well, this is a white base team unit, so you can choose itself, and then you can link it up with Sailor or Amuro and attack immediately for unblockable. So I think this card's really, really strong. Like I said, we're running 3. And then also, Sailor can link up with the Gun Cannon, another really, really good board control card. A level 3, 2 cost, 2/3 with repair 1. And then when paired, you choose one enemy unit with 2 or less HP and rest it. Really good at destroying all of those pesky, low to the ground aggressive stuff. And once again, it links up with white base team. This is also, once again, a white base team unit. And at this point in time, I would like to mention that yes, in case you were wondering, repair effects stack. So if you have Sailor Mass on the Gun Cannon, it will heal 2 at the end of every single turn, which is really, really strong. If you have Sailor Mass on the Gun Cannon and this Gundam out, yes, we will repair 3 at the end of each turn, which is really, really strong. So like I said, all about the board control, all about maintaining as much, board control as we possibly can through healing effects, through damage dealing effects, and I think it turns out to just be really, really strong and really, really fun. So yes, we have the gun cannon. So Sailor Mass can actually link up with 7 of our units here. Of course, Amuro can also link up with all 7 of these as well. So Amuro is the big linker for this deck. But after I get the 4th Kshatriya, we'll have Sailor Mass linking with 7, we'll have Marida linking with 7, and then Amuro linking with 13 of them. And once again, just for like white-based team synergy, we have 7 here. Would be 1 less if we had the Kshatriya, but we have 7, and then we have 7, so that's 14, and then we have the 4 here, which is 18. So we have 18 white-based team units. So we have cards that care about that, right? We have our G-Fighters, and we have the Gundam. So yes, a lot of synergy, really, really fun, really strong. I love this deck, and I love playing it, and my favorite characters, so that's excellent. Let's talk about the rest of the deck. So we are running 2 more units in the deck. These ones don't have links. I like to have most of my units have links, but these are still pretty strong. And these are our level 2 units, so great at playing on turn 2 or turn 1 if we have the EX resource. So we have the Gun Tank. This card is super strong. Level 2, 1 cost 1/2, and on deploy, you choose a rested enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. Really, really strong in conjunction with Amuro Ray, who rests units, or our gun cannon, which also rests units. So you can combine effects like dropping a gun dropping a gun cannon and then dropping your gun tank to deal damage, to kind of pick stuff off. So really, really strong, really good. And then finally we have good old Jim. We have the Jim, just a level 2, 1 cost 2/2. When the set 2 comes out, this is one of the first cards I'm looking to swap out and upgrade. I just want anything that's also low costing, but it just has an effect. It being a 2/2 is fine right now, and it pairs well with Sailor Mass, so it'll get +1/+1 and repair, which is also just fine, pretty good at trading into some early game stuff. I would prefer saving Sailor for an actual link effect, but still, I think the gem is just, it's fine. Once we find some better stuff in future sets, this will be one of the first cards to cut. More stuff like Gun Tank, but still really solid. And if our opponent is having a really slow start, we can be the aggro deck, just dropping Gyms and Gun Tanks, and then dropping our slew of 3 drops into our 4 drops. We can kind of curve out really, really nice, and just kind of like, tempo them to death with our with an aggressive start. And then finally, we have our command cards and our base. So any red deck that I'm running in this game, basically at this point, I'm putting close combat in. I think this card is cracked. I think it's super good. It's way better than it looks. I'm only running 3 in this deck just because we are also running Show of Resolve, and deck slots are pretty contested in this deck right now, and I want to have a lot of pilots, and I also want to have a lot of units, so all that boils down to just 3 close combats, but I still think it's really good. And this is a card you might want to consider bumping up to 4 if you have a pretty aggro-heavy meta. Why is this card good? Well, it's another level 2 card that we can play on turn 2 if we don't have anything else. And it's just really good at killing some of the best aggressive units in the game. It can kill those Zaku 2s that get the additional +2 on attack. So kill the Zaku 2s. It can kill the Z, I think they're called the Z Zulus, the 2/2s that get another +2 on attack. Kills those. It kills the Warts. Kills a lot of the best early game units in the entire game, and it's great into the late game. And it also pairs really, really well with Marida Cruz and our Kshatriya and the gun tanks as well, or the gun cannons. The one that does the shooty bang bang. Gun tank. Yes, that one. The gun tank. So yeah, it just works really, really well, and it's also another burst effect, and if your opponent doesn't sequence things properly, you can just kind of get them with the burst effect, just blowing up one of their units that hasn't attacked yet. It's just super good, and we're running a 3 of in the deck. You don't see a lot of these decks run these. I think you should. I think it's really good. Next up is Show of Resolve, a card that not a lot of the other aggressive versions of this deck are running, but I think this card is, once again, really, really good. Good into the mid and late game when we kind of gas out a little bit. Once again, we're going to be trading with the board and doing it as efficiently as possible, but we could still use some cards. So yeah, I'm running a full 3 of. I don't really feel that we need a full 4 of for this card in this particular deck, but I do still think it's really good, and I think it's one of the strengths of playing blue in general, just being able to run a Show of Resolve, because card draw is a premium in Gundam card game right now. And then finally we have our bases. Now, Corsica base is one of the best bases in the game. You just get a free unit when you play it, and it's a pretty strong unit. So on the first time you play it, you get a 4/2 Tall Geese. And if you already have a Corsica base in your bin, well, then you just get 2 Leos instead, which are just 1/1s, which is still pretty good. Getting two Leos or getting the Tall Geese is still pretty good. You only get it when you deploy it on your turn, but it is still very strong base. So yeah, we are running 3 of the Corsica base. I could see you running 4, but I actually have been really enjoying the white base, specifically in matchups versus other mid-range and control decks. I think the white base against like a blocker style deck that's not really as aggressive and they really want to trade into our board, I think white base is really good, because if this can stick around for a couple turns, especially if they're aggressively trading into our board, hey, we can get a 3/3 and a 2/2. We can get like multiple 2/2s. We can get a lot of value out of this that you wouldn't get out of Corsica base. But I do think they're both very strong, and once again, I can see an argument just for running the Corsica base. I'd say depending on your meta, but I like my one of white base, and I also like the flavor. I'm gonna be honest, I also like the flavor of having the white base in the deck that has both Amuro and Sayla, and also the gun cannon and the gun tank and the original RX-78-2 Gundam. Like, it's just super flavorful for me, and I also like it because of that. But I think it's a good card as well. So double whammy, good and flavorful. So that is the core of the deck. And like I said, I think this is one of the best decks in the game right now. I think it is one of the most fun decks to play for me personally. But you do have some options. So let's talk about some of the options here. By the way, I didn't talk about the white base, but yeah, it makes a Gundam token if you have no units. If you only have 1 unit, it'll make a gun cannon. And if you have 2 units or more, it'll make a 1/1 gun tank. Still, super, super good. You only ever need 1 of these 3/3 Gundam tokens, because there's never a situation where you can physically make another one. So yeah, here are resources. Here are our custom Red Zone Rogue EX bases and EX resources, and then we have the tokens. Once again, I want to mention for Gundam Card Game, just in case you don't know, you are allowed to use other language cards for your resources. Not in your main deck, but for your resources and tokens, you can use other language cards. So I have the Japanese Machu resources. You are allowed to use custom stuff for specifically cards that are considered tokens, like EX bases, EX resources, and actual tokens. That's officially in the rules. You're allowed to use, we've checked with judges, you're allowed to use them with, just for these, not for the resources, but for like the EX base and the EX resources. You are allowed to use anything that can resemble a card or something to that effect. Anyway, let's talk about the final bit. Let's talk about some other options for the deck. So this is some other stuff that I've been trying out. Obviously, another close combat. Another close combat, really good. I just like the more unit version of this, but I think another close combat, still really good. And then more copies of white base. I've tried more copies of Corsica. I think they're both really good, but I kind of like where the deck is at right now, with the exception of the 4th Kshatriya. And then our other consideration are these units, the Delta Plus. So I was running a couple of these for a while and I ended up cutting them, but I still think they're a decent option. So Delta Plus is a level 4/3 cost 4/3, has repair 1, and then during link, it gets +1 HP. And it links with any Earth Federation trade, which is our Amuros and our Sayla masses. So linking this with Sayla turns this into a 5/5. So it's a 5/5 repair 1 or repair 2 because of Sayla, and then it'll have well, we've already factored in that health bonus. So it's kind of like a little bit of a worse RX-78-2 Gundam, specifically with Sayla. It can also pair with Amuro, so it'll have more attack in that circumstance. It'll be a 6/5. And I think it's okay. Generally speaking, it's okay. I actually cut them for another copy of this and another copy of the G-Fighter. But I think this is fine if you want a little bit of a slower deck, right? It is a level 4/3 cost, and I think it's okay. I also think it's a good like alternate or budget option if you're missing any of these cards. Specifically, it's like the RX-78-2 Gundams. If you're missing any of these, I think it's a fine budget option. Or if you wanted to go more mid-rangey, So you can kind of cut something like the G fighters or something like that. Or even if you wanted to cut some like of our commands. I like our commands, but once again, I think this is an option that you could do for the deck. Personally speaking, I've been enjoying not running these, and the only things that I am looking to actually change in the deck is get my 4th Kshatriya, and then I'm considering adding a 4th G fighter. So those are the big changes that I'm thinking about making to the deck. But other than that, I think the deck is super fun. It is super strong. It is a deck that I would 100% bring to any big high-level tournament. And I think it's one of the strongest decks that I have built and that just exists in the Gundam card game. Yeah, I think it's really, really good. So yeah, let me know what you think of my version of the blue-red tempo-ish style deck. Like I said, it's not exactly the ping deck. We are running a couple cards that aren't in the ping deck. And we're not running some cards that usually are in the ping deck. Our deck focuses a little bit more on Salem Mass and white-based team synergy, and a little bit more on just kind of like trading with the board, rather than doing like our units that have the incidental ping. So once again, we are running them. We do have Kshatriya as well as the gun tank. So Kshatriya and gun tank plus Marida. Yeah, we got some little bit of incidental damage here, but yeah, I love this deck. I think a lot of different versions of the blue-red deck are really strong out there. There's a lot of different ways you can take it, but this is my personal take. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really, really helps. Appreciate all the support on the Gundam card game content. Let me know what kind of deck you would like to see next. I have a couple more decks in the pipeline. I have 5 Gundam decks built right now, so there's a lot of options. But thanks again, and we'll see you next time.